In this video, I'm showing how we can use this image to create this one. All the images that I use are in the description of the video, so just download all these images and follow along and you will create exactly the same image. If you're new to my videos, don't forget to subscribe now and hit that ring bell button so you don't miss any new videos. Alright, let's start off with opening this file in Photoshop, and let's press Command to Ctrl N to make a new file, and I'm gonna go for widescreen here. You can use any size you want, doesn't really matter. And press create. Now go to this file again and just hold down your mouse and drag it in the new one. Now press right mouse and make a smart object. And I'm gonna remove this background, so I'm gonna skip this part, but I'm gonna do this with the pen tool. So let's go on from here, and I'm gonna make sure the lighting is gonna be somewhere on this side. So I'm gonna create a new layer here and just make like this dot. I'm not gonna use this, I'm just using this for a reference right now because that's where I want my lighting to be. Alright, so let's click on this layer of this lion, and now I wanna create a new curves adjustment layer, and I wanna press right mouse and create clipping mask, so that way we only affect this layer underneath it. Now let's open up the curves here and let's drop the highlights. Let's say to this point. Now I want to select the brush here, go all the way up and select the soft round brush. Make sure the opacity and flow is at 100. And now I want to click on this mask here and let's brush these parts lighter again. Make sure you have black here selected and not white, and let's make this lighter. So this is our lighting and this is where the light's gonna be. Alright, now let's create another curves layer here, and this time we're gonna make this lighter, and let's drop the midtones so I have a little bit more contrast. And now we can just use the brush and get rid of it on this side, so removing a little bit less here, so something like this. Now let's make these eyes even cooler, so I'm gonna create a new exposure here. Don't forget to create clipping masks here, because when we have more layers we can just adjust these and we don't get confused. So this is only for our line. And now I wanna go to the exposure here and let's make this lighter. And now I wanna press on this mask here, press Command Ctrl I to invert it. And now with a white brush we can bring it back on the eye. Just make sure you have this selected here, so not the layer itself but only the mask of it. So that looks pretty cool already. Alright, let's create a new layer on top of everything. Create a clipping mask. Go to Edit, Fill, select 50% gray, change the blending mode to overlay, and press Command Ctrl J to duplicate it. Create a clipping mask again and use this for Dodge and this one for Burn. Now let's select the Burn tool. Go here up and select highlights. And let's start with around 20%. This is a really light image, so don't want to have it too much. And let's start with making darker areas darker. Alright, now once you got that, you want to change this to midtones and drop the exposure slightly. Let's say around 10%. And let's do some midtones now. And when you're done with the midtones, select shadows and drop this even more. So we are even close to 0 now. So I'm gonna, let's say 3, maybe even 2. Alright, let's select the dodge now. So select the dodge layer here and select the dodge tool. I want to go here up and let's do some highlights here. Let's lighten up some highlights. So I'm gonna lighten up these little pieces of fur here that are sticking out. Alright, next thing what I want to do here is to make sure this right side of this lion is really dark and this side is light. So this is still too light for me, so I'm gonna create a new layer here, and after that I'm gonna select this tool. I want to make this selection and press right mouse, select inverse. Make sure you have black here as the background color and just press Command or Ctrl backspace. So I created like this thing here, and I'm gonna select this tool and remove it from this side. So select this one, press delete, Now I have this thing here. I'm gonna create a smart object of it so I can adjust all the settings later. And go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And let's blur this out like that. This is fine. And go to settings and change blending mode to overlay and drop the opacity. Alright, now I don't need this light here anymore. I'm gonna delete this. Just drag this here. Alright, I want to create some depth in this image now, so I'm gonna select all these layers while holding down shift and duplicate them, and I press Ctrl Command E to rasterize this layer. Now I'm gonna just drag this here, go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and just blur this out. So it doesn't really matter what you blur out, but I'm just using this line here. Now let's open up this image in Photoshop, drag it in our file, and make a smart object. And change the blending mode to screen. So now I can create some cool particles flying around here. So play around with these. It doesn't really matter where you put them. Just find a nice place. I'm gonna add some blur to it. So we're gonna add some motion blur to this. Like they're moving up. Something like this. Let's open up this image in Photoshop and drag this in our file. And make sure it's behind our line here. Press right mouse and convert to smart object. Press Ctrl Command T to resize this so it fits the image. So this is exactly the kind of photo that I want for this, because we created lighting on the right side and this is like some sort of cave and the lighting is coming from the left side indeed, not the right side. So this looks pretty cool, and now we need to make sure this lighting here is coming over him, so not behind him, also over him. So first let's select this layer and go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and let's blur this out because we have all the focus now on him and don't want to have this too much visible in the background. Press OK. Now we need to fix this fur on this side a little bit more so it doesn't look right. So I'm gonna create a new layer here, go to the brushes and select the soft round brush, and let's drop the flow really low, around 10%, and let's brush a little bit here because we have now lighting here and we need to make it a little bit like that. And as always, I like to make my design a little bit better in Lightroom applying one of my presets. Check the link in the description so you can get these. Make sure to check out one of these videos if you want to see more of my content. And for now, see you on the next video.